Hello everybody and welcome again to another episode of Main Character Syndrome. I'm your host, Cheesymanfredo, aka Alfredo Morales. And before we get started, I'm gonna wait for that car to drive by first. But okay, so before we get started, I'd like to thank our previous guests, Oblivion Fall and Zimzy Fart. It was a pretty funny episode. We talked about Japanese porn. You guys should check it out. And enough about them. Let's focus on our current guest. With me here today, we got Matt's stupid face. Say hi, Matt.
Hey, how you doing?
I wasn't being rude. That's just his name on Twitter.
Yep, that's my name.
Right. And we got Nick.
Hi.
That's Nick, guys.
Hello.
He's right there.
How are you?
After Nick, we got Dylan.
Hello, I'm Dylan.
There you go. And it's a full house here because I wasn't sure if Matt was gonna come through, so I got Nick as backup, but then Mac did come through. So
now I'm just here, astral projecting.
Yeah, so if Nick, if you could just be quiet for the next hour and a half,
absolutely,
not interrupt. Yeah, that would be perfect.
No problem.
That would be excellent, perfect. Okay, but I brought you all here together because we all have one thing in common.
Mm-hmm.
I want you guys know what that is.
Crippling depression.
No, I don't have depression. I have no mental illnesses.
Damn.
Poverty?
I think
lucky.
Close. Matt,
drawing?
Want to take a guess, Matt? Did you say twine?
No, drawing. Something art.
No, we're all white.
Oh.
Okay. No, yeah, we all draw comics. We're all comics people.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
We all do sense. That.
Definitely.
And I think today's episode is going to be about airing our grievances about doing comics. And I feel like you can all relate, but it's really, really hard to make people read your stuff.
Yeah, yes.
You gotta break their arm backwards.
You gotta really you have to people say they hate advertisements and marketing, but you really gotta do that shit to make people read your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially if you're not popular, right?
Yep, 100%.
What have you guys? How do you guys market your stuff? How do you guys go about making people read your stuff?
I would always put out flyers at conventions. I would just, you could just set some stickers and flyers on those tables where all the other cons do their advertising, and nobody will bother it. People just go up, hey, there's a sticker.
I know there's book comic shops that just kind of let you leave flyers on their desk.
Oh yeah, I totally do that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
or if you're at a bar or something and you want to just if you see a bunch of stickers on the bathroom wall, you can just put one of yours in there.
I was thinking about that too.
That's a good
I was
idea.
thinking about doing that approach. But for me, I typically I do throw some money here and there at advertising web ads and stuff like that where I can, where it's the most cheapest, such on websites such as topwebcomics.com and things like that. Doing stuff like that, and then as well as printing off some stickers and sticking them around on light poles, vandalizing the whole city, being a mess.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
please vandalize your city, especially your neighborhoods. It will make the rent go low.
Yes,
it will lower the rent. Yeah, please vandalize where you live.
Yep, and so I'm the local terrorist putting up, advertisements, forcing them to read my comic, and so far it's been all right. I feel like the best advertising strategy for me so far is just showing up at conventions, which requires me to leave the house, which is really difficult, but it's been effective, at least so far. So
True.
I have not gone as legit as you guys. I usually I haven't been to conventions. I've been to conventions, but I haven't had a booth or anything, so I haven't done that. I mainly just throw my stuff on Twitter and go from there. I haven't gotten deep into the advertising part of it, but I do know how hard it is to get people to look at original content. So
oh yeah,
it's really annoying. Oh yeah, go on, Dylan.
There are a lot of people at artist alleys who will sell collections of their webcomics and stuff, but that's you see that that's just on the bottom of their desk, and everything in display is just fan art prints that you can buy for $10.
Yeah.
I feel like they don't really advertise themselves so much as they advertise, other things.
Mhm.
That's kind of like, yeah, but that's kind of the game, Dylan. It's kind of like,
Yeah.
because what's kind of like what I noticed, there was this one booth at the last convention I went to. Their whole strategy was they had like their book, they had their little like picture book with all their drawings with their original characters and whatnot. But out in front of them, they had a bunch of like, like you said, prints of like, popular characters and whatnot. Because I mean the idea is that like people don't know like they're gonna like your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like people are attracted to like what they like, right? So I
Yeah.
feel like even if you just want to like just sell your comic, you gotta like have to push some sort of angle where people could get some like a character they already like out of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I think I'm gonna probably not for this next con. I got one con at the end of the month, and then I got another one at the start of next month. But I'm thinking about like getting like from my sketchbook just little sheets and just draw a bunch of like popular characters that I like first and foremost. I don't want to be some fake guy and just start drawing a bunch of like Genshin Impact characters. I really don't give a fuck. Right, but just a bunch of like popular characters that and just in my art style, and then sell those to like kind of break even on the booth if you paid for it or whatnot. At my last convention, what I did was that I gave out like $25 commissions. So people would just come in and they tell me like, "Hey, could you draw this Japanese schoolgirl tied up as a mermaid?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Just come back in 2 hours." And I broke even that way, pretty well with my table. I mean, but you also gotta kind of have to push like you have to really push your car salesman angle when it comes to your own stuff, right? You got to do the thing where, like, even if they just take a quick glance at your booth, you go like, "Hey, you, come here," and you give them the spiel. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You guys ever done that? You guys ever given the spiel, your little pitch for your comic?
Absolutely. I already mentioned to Cheesy when I met him in person, but I have a credit card with my comic printed on it, like the cover of my comic printed on it. And there's been a couple times where, I get my card scanned and they're like, "What's this? Did you draw this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I did." And then I give them the little elevator pitch. And I don't know if I've actually gained any readers that way, but at least I got to tell people about it, so some people are aware of it.
It's almost like the Frank strategy from like Always Sunny. like what I wonder if is there a company where you could like print out your like art on a condom wrapper and then you just drop that condom and then people will be like, "Oh, this is some sick art on this condom."
I'm sure there's some AliExpress seller out there somewhere that does it.
I gotta find out. I could like put the villain's face on a condom, or no, I could put one of my like porn characters on a condom. That'd be appropriate.
Just don't make a neon sign and put it up in Boston.
Wait, you know what? Oh my god! Unironically, this is genius. This might be my next like NSFW project. Is make like, I'll have like my Patreons, like my patrons vote on which character I should print on a condom, and then they get it. Then they get like. They like I mailed them the condom, and I know some people are gonna be like, "I'm not gonna use this condom. I'm just gonna like keep it on my wall or something."
You're not supposed to use it. It's a collector's item.
Oh yeah, exactly. You can't use. Don't come in my collector's item, please.
I didn't know
that.
you,
Well,
I didn't know
the
you
rapper
did
has
NSFW.
the art. Oh, what were you saying, Matt?
I said I didn't know you do NSFW.
Oh, I do. Yeah. I have like a separate account where I just I did it like I started doing it in October because the fucking rent was late,
Right.
and I'm like, oh man, I really like gotta like I think it was also the midpoint between when I was getting like all that like bad attention from Big Twitter Artist Comic. Do you guys remember that?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
Oh wait, Matt, you don't know Big Twitter Artist Comic?
No,
Oh,
I
man.
don't. I'm kind of like
Oh.
I've only just like known about you probably within the last like I don't know like month and a half probably
Ooh,
when I followed
Matt,
you.
you fucked up. I'm an evil person.
Uh-oh.
I'm a diabolical. I was the Twitter main character. I was our Twitter main character for a week.
Unfortunately for you, you found the Mexican Joker.
Yeah,
Oh,
Mexican
okay.
Joker. Oh fuck! Wait, but I'll show you it and tell me if you ever seen like edits of the comic. I gotta like fucking. I'm scrolling up for it, but someone else say something right now. Whatever.
Is that
Doesn't
your
matter.
biggest tweet?
I I don't know if that might be my biggest tweak because I like. I wish there was an easier way to kind of like just look up like I wish it was like how in Tumblr where you could like find what was your most popular post.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, you can't do that on Twitter. You need to like go on another website and log in to find that shit out, and it's so annoying. It's very annoying to do that. Okay, Matt, tell me if you remember this comic.
Oh, I have seen that before. That was you.
That was me. Yeah. What was your
Go ahead.
No, what was your opinion when you saw this comic? What were you thinking?
Well, I saw an edit of it. I don't think I've ever seen the original. Let me see here. Yeah, I like your art.
That's so funny. I recently joined a local like comics group in my city, and no one's on Twitter. Like no one's on Twitter in that group. I'm the only like Twitter person. And I asked them, "Have you guys ever seen this meme?" And I showed them the comic, and someone was like, "Oh, I seen an edit of that." And I'm like, "Yeah, I created the original." I got people mad on me on Twitter, and they all think it's super funny.
That's how you that's how you know you made it, when people start doing edits of your stuff.
That is so funny. There's people out there who like really despise me because of this comic. That when they made the edits, they would erase my like @ that's right in the middle of the comic.
Yeah, people were pissed. I remember that much. I remember people being mad, and I'm like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, people were really fucking like just like hate. I not gonna lie, there was a couple of people who like were mutual at the time that probably didn't like me.
Oh
and
yeah.
Then once they saw
once
they saw this shit happen, they were like, okay, here's my way out, and they left.
Let it be recorded now. I don't even think it's that controversial of a take. Like, helping smaller artists is literally like one of the best things to help the community stay alive. I don't get why people were so pissed off about it.
It's pretty like, to be honest, like I'm gonna tell you this, and I've told this before to other people. I even have the screenshots to prove it. The whole point of the comic was to piss off people. Like I was trying to come off annoying, and the fact that it worked was kind of like, okay, well, yeah, all according to plan.
Mission success.
To my fucking master plan, you know.
Yeah.
That being said, it's kind of like it is kind of stemmed from like it is frustrating when you have like bigger Twitter friends who don't like who like or just your stuff but never like retweet it. I mean, they're not obligated, but it always like fucking helps.
Yeah, I'd say anytime my Twitter account blew up, it's because one of my bigger mutuals retweeted it. Otherwise, I usually kind of plateau on all my posts.
I mean, I think it's probably great that I made this comic because then it's like I have like people who kind of get it, you know, and that was very helpful for today because actually, as of recording this, I launched my new webcomic series called My Alien Girlfriend Doesn't Know I'm an Alien.
Nice.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you guys saw that? I think a couple of you guys retweeted it.
Yep.
I have not seen it yet, but I'll go check that out.
I really fucking pulled out the big guns for this one. Because I in my private server, I literally added everybody, and I'm like, I'm gonna need everyone in the server to retweet this. Because I really wanted to like make, because I think my friends were telling me that this was going to be the banger, and it felt like it was going to be the banger because it kind of like hit a lot of like the little Twitter like check marks. Oh, cute girls. Oh, they're gay. Oh, they're like also monster girls. Oh, it's like a premise for something. It's very simple, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I just need like the right push. I like sometimes I just go into Pan Peaks' DMs and I just link him one of my posts and I'll be like, I don't even say anything. He just knows. He just knows he's got to retweet it. That's how he pays me. He pays me in retweets.
Pays you in exposure.
Yeah, he pays me in exposure. That's how he pays me to edit his fucking podcast. Oh my god. But yeah, Matt, are you gonna unmutual me now? Are you gonna unfollow me?
No, I don't care. I mean, if every artist is being honest with themselves, they've all felt this way at some point. So it's not like anything controversial, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like everyone feels that they're like, oh man, they liked it. Come on, retweet it. Come on, retweet it. You know, it's like, it may not happen, but you know.
And honestly, it didn't used to be that way.
No,
Really? Go more in that.
When did you guys start posting your art online?
Since forever, but I used to go. There was a huge while where I just wasn't posting any art because I was just focused on my film major,
Right?
And I was just making short films at that point.
Yeah, I've been Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah,
I
go
didn't mean to
on.
interrupt. No, you're
No,
fine.
you go on, Matt.
No, I've been doing I've been doing art online since fucking forever. Like, oh, I could go into, I guess, I don't know, I'd say since I was in like high school, like back, I think I started posting on like a Sonic website.
Yeah, that's how it starts. That's how you furry start. It's
Yep.
a Sonic website first and foremost.
Yep. It's the gateway.
Okay, Matt, tell me if this is too personal of a question, but what year did you graduate high school?
Man, I'm old. What was it, 2003?
Oof.
I'm an old dude.
Oh my god. That there was no Spider-Man 2 yet.
Nope.
Spider-Man 2 came out the next year. That's kind of how I tell time, whether or not depending how close it was to the release of Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2, the most significant event of the 2000s.
True. Nothing more important happened, especially in the early 2000s, except for Spider-Man 1.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
correct.
the only other significant thing that happened in 2001.
That's how we measure our time now, by superhero movies.
I used to measure it by Shrek movies, but they stopped making those.
Yeah. It's like kind of like time stops. It's then.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I do have a question. So you said it used to not be that way? Like,
Well,
you mean,
okay,
like on
like,
social
all right.
media?
Before like Twitter and Tumblr and all that, there used to be just plain art sites.
Mm.
And some sites were a little more specialized than others. Like DeviantArt, you could post your artwork on, but mostly at that time, it was for like photography or like writing. It basically just had a general thing to it.
Yeah.
You had cheesy art, which is for more like cartoon art.
Yeah, I remember cheesy art.
Cheesy art was around for a while, but it got shut down.
I never heard of cheesy art. What the fuck is that?
No, not cheesy art. SHEEZY.
Ooh, okay, this is new to me.
Well,
Alright, go on.
like back then, things weren't as consolidated as they are now.
Yeah.
Like, if you're an artist that posts online, most of the time you're either going to like what? Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the most part. Now,
yeah, go on.
back then I would like frequent like 4 or 5 art sites, and I would post in 2. See, there was all kinds of different places you can go. A really weird thing that's happened with art sites, and especially like Tumblr now and Twitter, is there's a whole bunch of weird fetish shit. You know what I'm talking about?
Are you saying that people didn't have weird fetishes until recently?
No, I'm saying
Just came out of
that's like this. DeviantArt was like an early hotbed for this shit.
Spawning point, if you will.
Yeah, I was on
got more
DeviantArt. I do remember
popular, that shit just
DeviantArt. I was on DeviantArt.
I struggled a lot with posting art online because I had no tools to do digital art, and it felt like the only art that mattered online back in the early days was digital.
Oh yeah, because it was the early shit. I mean, like, if you were like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I didn't want to say anything. You go on.
I feel like I cut people off a lot.
No, you keep talking, King.
All right, cool. I forgot what I was gonna say.
Okay, so anyway, back in my early days, it was until I got like a phone. I didn't have a phone until after high school.
Mm-hmm.
And once I got a phone, that's when I was posting more online, but mostly like on Instagram. Like I would just take pictures of my art, and I was getting a lot of traction that way. A couple of stuff I would post on Tumblr, but my art on Tumblr would never get any attention ever.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And some fan stuff would, like, sometimes I go back on Tumblr and I see that like there's still people like sharing like a picture of Ultraman that I drew like when I was way younger. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think Tumblr was, from the vibe that I got, never got any attention for my art unless it was something like fan related.
Yeah, that's yeah.
But on Twitter is like where I've gotten the most success, and that's kind of like why I don't hate Twitter. Actually, I think the whole fact that everyone like fights each other on Twitter is like a bonus, really.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I like it. I love the fights.
You can't look away.
I love
Yeah, I
it when
can give
somebody
you-
says something stupid and then the next reply is just ratio.
What are you saying, Matt?
Well, if we're talking about like the history in terms of where we've been online, did you guys? This is really old stuff. Any of you guys like know of Fireball 20 XL? Any of you guys old enough for that shit?
Fireball 20 XL.
You ever heard of
What was
Psy Guy?
Saiga.
Recognize-
Sci Guy sounds kind of familiar, but
Okay,
I'm pretty sure I was not there during that era.
So yeah, I got my start like doing this guy named Psy Guys. He ran that website Fireball 20, and he was doing like Sonic stuff, Sonic fan comics, and he reached out to me and he was like, "Hey, can you do art for my comic?" And it was a horrible comic. It was fucking awful. It was so bad.
You should repost it. You should repost your old Sonic comic on
You
Twitter.
could find it, I'm sure, if you searched it. It was called Chaos Diamonds 3. It's known for
Oh my
being
God.
it's known for being really bad and really cringe.
That's like
Fucking
the most.
awesome.
That's like the most Sonic fan comic-y name I've ever heard.
Oh yeah, like well, it was like Shadow was like the good guy, and then like
yeah,
Sonic
of
was like the
course.
punk, and it was like
Yeah,
this.
that-
Yeah, it was really silly.
That sound you've hidden like all the little marks. Was it a
Mhm.
Sprite comic too? Were there sprites in there?
He did. That's how he got his start. Was a Sonic Sprite comic. It was called That's My Sonic, and it was also very cringe. You could probably find all this stuff.
I think. Oh my god! I think I remember that My Sonic. That name sounds so familiar.
Hashtag not my Sonic.
The only good thing that probably came out of that whole thing was some of the people I met were really cool. One of them was actually, you guys have probably heard of him. His name's Tyson Hesse. I got to talk to him a lot.
Oh, wow.
He was in the forum that I was in, and we talked, and he complimented my work multiple times.
Oh, damn.
Nice.
Oh yeah, that's
I
where
believe he posted-
that's where all the legends beats at the Sonic fan forums.
I'm
Yeah,
pretty
Sonic
sure
fan forums.
he had a comic called Boxer Hockey, and I think it was on Fireball 20 briefly in the early days. I'm not sure like where it went after that.
He stopped that comic to work on the Sonic comics now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have never read it, but a lot of friends of mine were fans of that comic, and they really were upset when he just kind of stopped to work on Sonic. But I guess that's where the paycheck was, right?
Yep. He was always really cool though.
I think we're a lot of. What's that?
No, I said go ahead.
I think for a lot of people, they perceive a webcomic as like the step up to like an industry job.
Mhm.
Wait, you think so?
Really?
I think currently now it's like you do a webcomic first, and then like, you get hit up by like
Webtoon or something.
a webtoon if you've been for a while, right? Like, I'm pretty sure. Does Sarah Anderson predate webtoons? No, she predates webtoons. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
because she was just posting stuff on Tumblr, and then webtoons came along.
Can
And I remember back in the day, I don't know if this rule is still like a thing that Webtoons has, where they said that if you post your comic on other like sharing sites, we're not gonna pay you. But Sarah Anderson was so big that she had her stuff on like all the websites, and Webtoons was still paying her anyway because she was just that massive,
Yeah.
right? Mm-hmm.
so what is Webtoons? I'm new to this.
Oh, you don't know what Webtoons is?
No.
It's kind of like I guess a YouTube for webcomics.
Oh.
It's like how I kind of explain it to like other people.
Yeah, it's
So anyone
right.
can join.
It's just one in the line
Korean-based.
of a lot of old webcomic hosting sites.
Like KeenSpot.
Yeah, KeenSpot. They're still around. They're posting print comics now for some reason.
Oh.
I think Webtoons is like webcomic hosting, but it's like the most. It's probably the one that's hit the most mainstream appeal ever.
Mm-hmm.
Because it started out like, I'm gonna tell you the story they told me when I went to the Webtoon panel, as part of the Secret Origins of Bongo and Luna, but they said that in Korea, like, all print media is basically dead, right? So everything that you wanted to read, you had to go for your phone. So the mentality was that these newer comics would be designed to be scrolled, like forever scrolling up, right?
Yeah, I've seen those.
And yeah, so you would have Webtoons was one of the ones who would host it in Korea, and then they brought it over to America. And that's when they would hit up like these people who are already kind of popular doing their stuff, like Sarah Anderson's and such, to like do original and bring more attention to Webtoons. Actually, Webtoons is so popular, I think there's been like a handful of like live action series and animes that were based on webtoons.
Netflix has some sort of exclusive deal with them, and it's like it literally feels like every week there's like based off the hit webtoon. Like even if you go to Webtoon's homepage, it's like now a Netflix show on like all their head banners and shit. It's crazy.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I still have not gotten my letter for Bongo and Luna animated series, so I'm still waiting though. It's gonna happen one day. Oh, Matt, I keep saying Bongo and Luna. Do you have any idea what I mean when I say that?
No, I don't.
That's it's one of my earlier webcomics.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of like one of the first things I was well known for. And if we talk about marketing comics, I think Bongo Luna was like the first comic I really went hard on the marketing, and I was like doing like a lot of experimentation. It got to a point where I like did this, like I had this like clown sona, if you will, that would like market the comic, and that would be kind of like the joke, and it was supposed to be this kind of like weird, funny, creepy thing. And I still want to do it because it kind of scratches my itch for like making films or video related stuff, you know?
Yeah.
That went some decent amount. I got pretty infamous for having this like clown sauna, right? But a lot of testing the grounds, and what I figured was like what I found out was like the best way to get attention to your webcomic was to like get shout outs from popular YouTubers. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that usually does it.
I think one of the big things that kind of like pushed a lot of like attention to Bong and Luna was when I paid like Pan Pizza Rebel Taxi to give me a shout out on a couple of the podcasts, right? And he seemed to be a fan, although I didn't find out. I always assumed Pan never read it until a friend recently told me that he actually has read it, and I'm like, oh, what? No way. He never fucking told me about it. I never got the vibe that he read it, right? But yeah, and that's kind of like how I became closer and friends with like Pan. Also, I'm Mexican, so he felt some common ground. You know, we were both Mexicans. Yeah, I don't know if the thing is with that strategy though is that like Pan doesn't like do his podcast no more. Well, he hasn't like announced if he's gonna stop the podcast or not. It just hasn't uploaded in like forever.
Yeah.
So you gotta have to like find other like kind of avenues to get like shout outs. I've like done a couple of things where I send like free comics to popular YouTubers who have like kind of like mailbag episodes, and they look at it, but nothing's ever really come out of it. I did send one to like Mega 64 because they do like mailbox episodes, and I know that one of the guys on Mega 64 is really into comics, and he actually is like he's like a reoccurring attendance at this one comic convention I'm going to go to.
Nice.
Actually, the Mega 64 guys live in the same city that I do. So I was trying to like build this like familiar connection, like, hey, I'm a local comic artist, and blah blah blah, right? People eat up the local comic artist thing, because like if you're at a convention in your home city and you say that I'm local, people would be like, oh yeah, home team, yeah, I'm gonna support home team.
That's true.
Right?
That makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. It's a really good angle to push if you really when you give them the little spiel when you try to roll people into your booth. That being said, it's so hard. What I like about webtoons is that it's like YouTube. It gives you like the analytics of how much attention your comic is getting. So you see it right there, you know. You kind of see that too with Twitter when you post your comic and you see the likes and retweets or the quote tweets, you know, the ratios or whatever. But with doing kind of like, because my other comic Villainverse, that one is kind of hard to gauge the popularity of it. I kind of just have to like, I think the popularity jumps every time a new chapter drops, because I really make these motherfuckers wait for these chapters.
Yeah.
Right. I've had way better luck going to conventions and pushing the comics. Right, because Villainverse is kind of a little too traditional. You know, like it's actually my only comic right now that I draw traditionally. Everything else I draw digitally. As of recently, I finally figured out digital art. last year, I finally figured out how digital art works, and it just all clicked in my head.
It takes a little work.
That's how it works.
I was there too.
I'm dumb. I'm like I repeated the second grade. If you want to get a vibe of how smart I am, but it's okay because I graduated early, so I'm only a semester behind. That being said, I think Villainverse might be my last like traditionally drawn like comic. Maybe, I don't know. It depends if I get like an itch to go back to like physical.
Yeah,
you know.
That's
when I saw your work
started.
Traditional.
Yeah. Did it start traditional, Nick?
Yeah, I started off traditionally. Originally, I first started writing the comic when I was in high school, and that's kind of why I have the high school setting for it and everything like that, because it was what was most relatable to me at the time when I first started. And since then, I've moved more towards digital, and partially the reason because of that, other than improving my digital art skills, was also because the cost of materials, just like getting paper and pencils and inking and stuff like that for just doing it physically. It just didn't feel very worth it in the end, and getting your hands covered in like pencil dust and stuff. I just thought it was just easier to draw digitally, so that's why I made the transition.
I don't know about you, but when I was like in middle school, I took this one art class from a guy who basically had his own like comic book company called Nico Press, and he's the one who kind of like trained me in like the digital stuff. Oh wait, Matt, you know Nico Press?
I've heard of it. It's I don't remember specifically, but I have heard of it.
Does the name Billy Martinez sound familiar?
Not particularly.
Okay, never mind. But he was basically my art teacher, and he kind of like taught us to do like traditional and then like scan it.
Yeah.
And he's the reason why I like use like a lot of micron pens. I mean, I think it's very common to use micron pens, but I literally like have not moved on from micron pens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, back when I did traditional too when I first started back in the day. I used pen nibs and all that crap, and I just got tired of it. So
I think that's how everyone starts.
Yeah.
I adopted digital pretty quickly. This is like early back when like Wacom was the only game in town, and I was lucky enough to find a decent Wacom tablet. This was like 2006, so of course
I only recently. Oh, go ahead.
Of course, tablets have been around a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
What are you gonna say, Matt?
I said I only just recently got into the Wacoms with the screens, which was like, oh my god. Like,
oh yeah, I got my first a couple years ago. One of those XP pins. Yeah, they're only like $300, and they're great.
Yeah, so big time recommend.
I'm gonna have to get into that eventually. I think I'm sick. I'm good. I'm good where I am right now. Yeah. I think a big hindrance for me for like digital art was that the fact that this whole time I had a very shitty tablet, because I went to like a Fry's Electronics back in high school, and I bought like the most affordable like it wasn't even a name brand. Like I would tell people the brand of the tablet that I had, and they would not recognize it. Actually, I don't even think the company who makes it exists now.
Dollar store tablet.
That's how third rate it was. But I didn't realize at the time, because I would only use the tablet to kind of like clean up my like line art after I scanned it, so it worked for its purpose. It wasn't until recently that I realized that like this is like really holding me back. And then I got a new tablet, and it felt like imagine like you were a fish and you were born in like dirty water, but you were just so used to it because you were born in it, right? So you would never even know what clean water was until you go to clean water and you realize, oh my god, I was living in filth this whole time and I didn't even know.
Right.
That's what it felt like, getting like a new fucking tablet.
Oh
yeah. So that was holding me back. But I guess I mean, there's a lot of like shoulda, woulda, coulda. I would go back in time and tell myself, this tablet is shitty. Please invest in a better one. And also, I'm pretty sure that tablet was making my like Photoshop act up, because after I got a new tablet, I realized that my Photoshop like never did all the weird things it would usually do.
Yeah, tablets can totally do that.
Yeah, the old tablet I had was like fucking like poisoning Photoshop.
Because of this new tablet I bought, I had to stop using Paint Tool Sci for all my drawing, and I moved to Clip Studio instead. Oh man,
That's better for you.
Yeah. Oh, it's so much better. It's amazing.
Yeah, I have the really bad problem of whenever I learn a new program, or whenever I have to switch programs, I just get really stubborn because it's like, oh, this is not the way that it was before, and I had to make the transition from Psy over to Clip Studio Paint a couple months ago, and I literally just spent like a couple hours just restructuring the UI to be like Clip Studio Paint, or size, so that way it's a lot easier to use. And the tablet I'm using right now is the Microsoft Surface Pro. I had to drop a pretty chunk of change for it, but I was living with my parents at the time, so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and go all out. And I'd say the Surface is pretty freaking good, but it is quite the investment, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been looking at that for a long time, but I eventually just got a Samsung tablet, Galaxy Tab 7 S7 or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, it's been a great investment. It was only like $300.
Yeah,
That's
I think
not
my
bad.
favorite part about the Surface is that the Surface Pen has like a rubber tip, so it has kind of like a resistance to it that almost feels like
Ooh.
paper, and I feel like that
Ooh.
just really made it
Ooh, that
feel
sounds
really
good.
Ooh, feels like paper.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
if there's
the way you described that was kind of hot. Nick,
Thank
not gonna
Thank
lie.
you, I appreciate
It was a little rousing.
I try my best.
Dylan?
that's something
What are you saying, Dylan?
that's kind of like one of the things you got to get used to with a tablet. It's like running your fingers all around it and like scratching it.
I'm like the opposite. I barely want to touch I use my tablet like almost every other day, but like I barely want to touch it because I'm so like scared to like break it or something. You know,
Right.
I'm fucking cautious with that shit. All right, let's talk about projects. How many projects do you guys like work at a time? Because I'm like working on like, I think publicly I said I'm working on 3 projects, but I think technically I'm working on 5.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Too damn many.
I mean it helps that the 2 other ones I'm doing it with other people, so I'm not taking the full like workload, you know.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Like like right now I got Villainverse, which I used to kind of like want to like have all of Villainverse done in a year because I was like, oh yeah, 1 chapter a month, that's easy. Well, no, it's not, especially
I
if
was
it's
there too. Don't feel
Yeah.
too bad.
yeah, when it's traditional, it's like, oh, it's tough. But I did kind of like, if I were to just spend 3 months on a chapter, I could probably have it done all in a year and a half, and which isn't too bad because I'm at the halfway point for Villainverse right now.
Mhm.
And then I'm currently started the My Alien Girlfriend, which go read it now, guys. It's on Webtoons, and that one I'm gonna do weekly. And originally I was thinking I'm gonna do it bi-weekly, like I used to do Bongo and Luna. Back when Bongo and Luna was the only comic I was focused on, I could easily update twice a week. But then I realized that like, nah, this isn't feasible, especially with my other projects. So I think just to kind of like build up like kind of momentum, the first 4 comics, like I'm dropping another My Alien this Thursday, and then the next 2 are going to be Tuesday and Thursday, and then after that it's only going to be on Wednesday. Right.
I think it's a good start.
Yeah, and then I'm also going to like get like buddies to like do guest comics. And you're all invited to do guest comics, by the way.
Oh, for sure. I'd love to.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes, please. That also it's a good way to like. I'm mostly hoping to get My Alien Girlfriend so popular that like, when my buddies do like guest comics, they like get some of that. They get a little trickle. You know, we do it Reaganomics style.
Trickle down economics.
Trickle, yeah, but it's fine. It's webcomics. If it was like real money and real people, no, that's evil. But it's okay. It's webcomics, you know.
Yeah,
it's fine. And my third project, and I've talked about this on a previous podcast and other ones, is I'm working on kind of like you guys know about like comics like Mr. Boop or like Tails Gets Trolled.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Things that could only
who
be
doesn't?
webcomics for free.
Right. So basically, oh no, I mean they're like selling like Mr. Boop. Like,
Well, I mean, they
you buy
are
physical
now
copies
because
of
they're,
it.
you know, this is what's still weird because like people would be so afraid of doing that back then, But now it's like, Fallout Equestria. Sure, we'll print that out. Fuck it.
It's oh man, that the Fallout Equestria stuff is so fucking interesting. Wait, Matt, do you know about Fallout Equestria?
I've seen little bits and pieces of it. I don't know like the full extent. I didn't know it was in print. That is wild to me.
I think it's like a limited thing.
They can only do like a limited version of it.
Because it's still copyright, even though they're technically listing it as a parody.
Yeah.
But, parodies are supposed to be
still
funny.
Nuts.
The whole bit is that like it's a parody of Fallout, and the joke is that it's MLP, and I think that's how they like legally got away with it, like stating it that way, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I'm on the topic of like I've been really kind of like in this zone where like anything that I think could potentially like get me popular, I just like try to make, because I really just want to make this my living, and I think we all do. Yeah,
that's true.
Making your art your living is like the goal of like every artist, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And I think I'm at that point, and I'm at that kind of like financial state where I can like fuck it, just try whatever,
right.
To kind of like see what sticks on the wall, and a lot of it's kind of like you have to kind of see what's popular, and I'm not saying like you should try to like just be the most popular thing ever, but like you could still kind of like do something that you like and also have it resonate with a lot of people, you know?
Yeah.
Right? And that's like the balance. That's like you have to like find the right balance of like, because I like My Alien Girlfriend Doesn't Know I'm an Alien. Like it sounds like a lot of other popular things, but it's all something that I like, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I was thinking like my third project right now, and I just finished the rough draft for this, is I was gonna do like an adaptation of the opera Pagliacci. Do you guys know the opera Pagliacci?
Mm-mm.
No, never heard of it.
You never seen like parodies where it's like a clown singing opera?
Oh yeah, okay, I know what you mean now. I had to get the visual.
So yeah, that's where that comes from. It's from this opera called Pagliacci, right? And it's basically a story about this clown who gets like cucked. He gets cucked so hard that he murders people.
Good lord.
And it's a pretty short play. It's a pretty short like opera, right?
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I'm gonna do a comic adaptation of that, but I'm gonna replace all the characters with Ronald McDonald characters.
Oh my god, yes.
That's a good idea. I like that.
Yeah, so it's gonna be called Mick Pagliacci, right?
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, and I'm gonna try to make that like my Mr. Boop, like, oh yeah, because people, I mean, that's kind of like, you have to kind of sometimes do that, you pick a character everyone knows, like, whoa, Sonic smoking weed? Oh, epic,
Mm-hmm.
People eat that shit up. People love it when it's like established character that's already popular, but they're doing something they're not supposed to,
Yeah.
Like, look at the fucking, like, the Gorefield stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I have a question.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Do all of you primarily just do comics? Is that like what you mostly work on?
Mostly,
Okay.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm really like trying to push podcasts really hard this year too.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's like my other kind of trying to make that my bread and butter too.
Yeah. I only ask because for me, like doing comics, like initially was like my first love. But recently I've been doing more just like basic commission work for a bunch of like streaming people. So I'm not like, when you asked like how many projects we have going, I'm like, well, in terms of comics, I only have like one that I've just had on the back burner that I've been wanting to do, but I've been so inundated with people like Will Neff and Hassan and all these other guys wanting stuff from me. I've had no time to myself.
Oh shit! You got Hassan. You got the Hassan money coming for him.
Potentially.
Damn, you should tell him to get a stream crossover, because you stream too, and you should like get Hassan in. And that should probably boost you a couple numbers too.
Yeah, I wish. Getting a hold of him is like fucking pulling teeth, dude.
Yeah, I bet he only hangs out with celebrities now.
Nah, it's more he's just a really busy dude, and he's got ADHD, so it's just really hard to get his attention. Really, that's the main thing. So.
Oh yeah, I know how that is.
Don't they all?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think you could, if you just kind of like have to like you just have to kind of schedule yourself, like I have a physical calendar in my room where I write down like every little thing, like everything that's gonna like drop and whatnot,
Right.
and just kind of like map it out. Like, oh, this should be done by this. Should be done by then, right? Like giving yourself deadlines is pretty good. Um, and like it's fine to like kind of like test the waters out on a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to kind of like figure out how long things would take for you to do, and kind of have like realistic like numbers of like, okay, this is going to be done for this, right? I think what I really like about scheduling like conventions like months into the year later is that like, okay, I feel like by then I'm going to have this comic done, and then I'll push it at this convention, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's pretty. I mean, like if I don't know if you guys are the type of person to keep track to like a calendar or whatnot. How do you guys do with stuff like that?
Oh,
I tried to.
It's necessary for me.
You'll go insane if you don't.
No, I just won't do anything. I'll just stay at home all day.
Oh, I stay at home all day too, but I'm just drawing.
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good at self-motivating if I have to, mostly because I don't have a choice. Because since I have a kid now, it's like, all right, these are the times I can work. These are the times I can't.
Yeah, that'll do it.
It forces me to make those decisions. So,
yeah, Matt, you should have invested in my Bongo Luna condoms. Now look at you.
But
yeah, I'm fucking with you.
For me, I got a lot of different things going on my plate. Originally, I was a YouTuber. I'd say is the first big thing I did on social media.
Yeah.
Primarily covered the Shin Megami Tensei series, whose daughter series is Persona, which most people know about, but artistically it was probably one of the bigger influences on me, because the original artist for the series, Kazuma Kaneko, he designed like all these different demons and angels and stuff based off of like, you know, actual mythological descriptions and stuff. And as someone who grew up Catholic and isn't so much religious anymore, those stories and things really stuck with me, because, you know, when you grow up as a kid and being constantly told that the devil and hell is a very real threat to your life constantly, it's just like it kind of messes with you a little bit. So I was always interested in the darker side of things. So I kind of took that love for SMT. And then I loved cartoons as a kid, much like every other creative person on social media nowadays. I was a big fan of Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy and Invader Zim. I was the weird kid, just like everyone else. And I decided deep into my YouTube career, probably been doing it for like 3 or 4 years, I was just like, is this really what I want to do with the rest of my life? Because my YouTube career was actually pretty decent, and I was getting like ad revenue and stuff from Google and things like that, but it was just like, I don't want to sit here and talk about this series that I love so much forever. In fact, I want to be able to create something that someone else would love so much that they would want to talk about it. So that's what led me to originally create my series Unhinged, which is currently going on right now, and it's kind of like a mix between SMT, Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, Invader Zim, all these different things with like more of slice of life type storyline and everything like that. And I got writing into that in high school. And like I said, I did it traditionally originally, and it kind of looked terrible. So then I went back and redid the first couple chapters digitally. And that's basically where I'm at right now. I used to do what Cheesy did, where he would wait a couple months to post new chapters and then just kind of do it that way. But I figured that wouldn't really keep people's attention too much, because I've just been doing a lot of research on how to get people to read your webcomic, because kind of like how we opened up this podcast, it's literally like trying to force a horse to water and making it drink. Like most people don't want to fucking do it. And I've done like so much research on like successful webcomic people. I've listened to like their 4-hour streams talking about how they got big and stuff like that. And it seems like the most reoccurring thing between all these people is consistency, not in terms of like art quality, although that is important. Consistency in the terms of just being consistent, having a consistent online presence, which is really hard for me as someone who doesn't really like spending all of his time online. Ironically enough, you know, I do webcomics and shit like that. But so I kind of had to come up with the reality that, like, okay, I could release a new chapter maybe twice a year because they take a long ass time to write and there's so many pages, or I could just release a page a week, which is basically my workflow, how my workflow was originally anyway. So I just decided at the beginning of this year to do weekly page updates every Monday at 7. Check it out on Webtoon. And and so I noticed that I think I've gotten about 1,000 more viewers since the start of the year on Webtoon.
Hell yeah.
Now, viewers aren't as good, of course, as followers or subscribers or anything like that. However, it's definitely given me more traffic, and that's something I can definitely appreciate. And so it's kept me motivated to keep working on Unhinged and everything like that. I did start a secondary comic, kind of like a comic strip, kind of like what Cheesy did with Bongo and Luna, except with my brand mascot, who's like a bird gravedigger character. And I did a couple strips with him, and he's kind of put on hold right now for other projects. And then I also started picking up game development as well, because I'm a masochist and I love putting myself through long-ass projects. So I started learning how to program and shit like that. And it's been going pretty well so far. I have a working prototype and shit, but now I just got to do all the art assets and write the story. And oh my god, it's a lot of fucking
Jesus
work.
Christ.
I mean, you're right. You're fucking 100% right. That's how it be. But it's like, if one of the smaller things you do could like kind of take off, it kind of feels like it almost justifies the larger projects almost.
Right.
You get my drift? Yeah, I have a buddy of mine. I tried to get her. I think she's eventually going to be on the podcast. She couldn't do it because of schedule conflicts. But you guys saw that the hit comic Among Us girl floating around on Twitter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Mimi Yori
no.
or whatever?
Yeah, Mimi Yori. She's a friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And don't mean I don't mean to brag, but back in the day on Twitter, I used to do this like kind of like almost monthly posts where I would like yell at people to start drawing their webcomic.
Right? I remember.
Yeah, you remember? I haven't done those a lot recently, but I'll maybe I should make another one. I should make another one like later this week. But Mimi already saw one of those posts and she's like, damn, Cheesy's right. I should do that. And then she started working on Serendipity, which is a really good webcomic. I really recommend it.
Yeah, I've read a couple of the posts she made, and they're pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she's been working on that, and she wasn't like crazy popular. She was like at 4,000 maybe like a couple months ago, right? Until like Among Us Girl hit, and that was kind of like a shitpost comic that she made, but it got super popular. She's like at 21K now or more. I think she's like at 30K now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Right.
It's crazy how quick some people can blow up. Because I've been on Twitter since 2017 and I haven't even hit 1,000 yet. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's. Yeah, go on, Matt.
Sorry, I just never heard of this. I'm trying to look it up.
It's like a relatively recent thing.
Yeah, it is relatively recent. And it's crazy. I mean, that's kind of like why, like, if anyone who's like starting out, I encourage, like, if you have any random ideas for just little short comics or just anything that could be reasonably done in under a short amount of time, just do it. And because people like the meme stuff, people like the shitpost stuff, you know. They're people like eat that shit up, so you gotta like really like, especially now with like people's like short attention spans, you know.
Yeah.
I think you're pretty good at that, Matt. A lot of the comics you do are very like short, little pseudo political comics.
Yeah, it's my way of like filling that void because, like I said, I don't get a lot of time to do comics anymore. So it's like, all right, I want to do a comic really bad, so I'm just gonna pump something out that people can relate to on some level, because that's usually what people enjoy. They'll like, I can relate to this. This is me, you know. That's kind of like that's what they're drawn to. So
yeah,
that reminds me of it's very similar to a buddy of mine, Zach, Yellow Swag Studios. Do you know who Yellow Swag is, Matt?
Nope.
Really? Hold on.
I mean, I might. If you show me the art, I'm really bad at remembering names.
He's like this like edgy, like kind of like centrist guy, but he's cool. Don't worry. He's not a psycho. He used to be like former like mutuals with like Stone. Actually, I think he is still mutuals with Stone Toss, which sounds sus, but but believe me, he's not insane. He's not like he's not a monster. I've had him on a couple of my podcasts. He's a really chill guy.
This is a cute little comic.
Yeah, he made this.
Oh, this guy, yeah.
He makes like these kind of like what's the name of the Onion guy? The Jay Kelly or Joe Kelly. Those Onion like strips where it's just a bunch of random like nonsense political takes.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been really into doing this. He used to do a bunch of comics where the jokes were that like it's gay. He had one where it's like the gay angry video game nerd, and he's mad that like there's like no men in the game that he could suck their dicks, you know. I think that's my favorite comic he's ever made, and it turns out that he's never seen an episode of AVGN, so he was kind of being a poser there.
It's fucking funny.
Oh word! But anyway, oh fuck, Nick, do you have any more projects of yours you want to talk about?
Not really at the moment. Just gonna be at several conventions and shit. Hope to see a lot of people there, so that'll be exciting.
Word. Dylan, you want to talk about your stuff you got going on?
Yeah. Well, on top of a bunch of long-term projects that I don't really want to talk about. First thing off, and the most important thing I'm doing right now is I'm trying to make a collection of my book to sell. Or my comic, rather.
Yeah, Legend of Lucy.
Yeah, The Legend of Lucy. We're currently at the 10-year mark, and I figured it's probably a good time to go ahead and make a print version. So,
have you guys heard of Legend of Lucy?
Mm-mm.
I'd seen it around since like forever. I think
that's usually what I get.
Yeah, I think before like I became like mutuals with Dylan, I would see it like everywhere, and until I noticed that wait, this guy follows me, and I'm like, well, maybe I should read his comic, and I checked it out.
Yeah,
and it's good. I like his art. I like your art, although I'm not gonna lie, Dylan. It's not a hard story to get into, but it feels very, what's the word? I don't know. It feels very like it's too episodic for me, maybe.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I think that's the problem with most people. Like they expect something like super meaty, like you got to watch the whole thing to understand it.
I mean, if I were to compare it, I say it's very similar to Yosaji Yojimbo. You guys know Yosaji Yojimbo?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, where like, oh, there's this character and they get into these adventures and they encounter stuff, right? The thing is that, like, I think with Legend of Lucy is that, like, it wasn't clear to me what exactly she does.
Right.
Until, like, I read more. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
But it's still a good looking comic. I've read some of the recent pages and I really like those too. Those are really good.
Yeah. I think that's probably a problem in my earlier comics is a little vague. It didn't really people didn't really understand what was going on. The thing is, with those comics, I was just basically doing them one page at a time. I wasn't scripting them or anything. I was just basically thumbing it down on whatever I could think of at the time. And what basically came of that is a comic that's like really, really fast paced.
Mm-hmm.
So
it feels like there's a lot of things going on, or like the kind of direction changes a lot. And I think the fact that you told me like back then you would just do it page by page,
right?
I think it's more obvious now that you did that with those pages.
Yeah, because I mean the Clash storyline with Carmack and all that was like the first one I started scripting, and I think that's the one people like the best because that's the one that most people talk about. So yeah. Write your comics, people.
Yeah, at least like even I'll tell you this much: I don't write scripts for my comics, except for Mick Pagliacci's like the first one. I actually wrote a whole script before like drawing it, because what I do is the strategy is where I outline the story.
Right.
Like I know all the kind of like story beats, but I don't know the exact details, and I do that because it's kind of like a good way to like entertain yourself. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I know what's gonna happen, but I don't know exactly what's gonna happen. And sometimes, like, that's where like the magic happens. Like, there's a moment in Villainverse Chapter 2 that I really like, and it wasn't like in the outline, where like there's a character who like has a ship that's like in the shape of a fist.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And then another ship shows up that has a face on it, right? And I was thinking like, oh, I gotta make a sequence where the fish ship like punches the face ship, right? and that wasn't like in the script or in the outline. I just came up with that on the spot. Like, oh, this is because I have to get both of these ships to crash on a planet. Like, I knew that their encounter would make them crash, but I don't know exactly what that encounter would have been like.
Right.
So then I'm like, oh, okay, well, this character could swing the fish ship and punch it right in the face, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of like, yeah, I didn't know that was going to happen. It's like how you keep yourself entertained that way, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Yeah,
get more
at
into
least-
that style of writing too. Like, I still write scripts from time to time, but they're a lot more basic. Because script writing used to be like a slog for me. It would take me a long time to finish a script.
I would just rough draft. I write the script while I'm doing the rough draft. Like, I literally write the word like dialogue comes to me so much easier if I'm just like doing a mock script with the dialogue right there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, the words come out so much easier out of me with just looking like at a script and like doing it that way, you know?
Right.
And I only ever write the script when I'm like after everything is done and I have it all ready. I like go on Google Docs and I like write it out to check for grammar mistakes, and then copy and paste it. I mean, before I copy and paste it, I send it to a couple of friends to kind of like give the overlay, like what they think, like any other grammar mistakes I fucked up with, and then like once I go through that, copy and paste and just put it in the Photoshop file, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But I think yeah. What else were you gonna say, Dylan? Before I interrupted you.
Well, as far as other projects I'm working on, I have a thing for Webtoon that I wanted to start working on. And like I mentioned before, I'm gonna start bringing on other artists to work for, make comics for me.
Epic.
Yeah, I recently just announced that I was gonna make spin-off comics to Lucy, and you can expect
cool.
to see more about that soon.
Oh fuck! I was gonna ask you about that.
Right.
Because like, didn't you announce that on April Fool's Day?
No, I deliberately did it the day after.
Okay, good. Because I swear I thought it was an April Fool's post, and I was like, oh, that's
I do want to bring on another artist to work on Lucy Comics for me. The thing is, I'm not really, I don't really have like a good like idea of what revenue share would be like right now. So I think I just wait for further news.
Where I'm actually, speaking of like working with other people, I actually have a current comic that so I wrote this script for a short film that I had to cancel like a couple years back, but I really liked the script and I thought that this script would probably translate pretty good as a comic. But I didn't want to draw it because like I've already had like too much in my bucket, you know. I already got too much stuff I'm working on, and it was like a horror script, and I don't know if my art style is at that point where I could do a proper horror comic, and I'd like it too much. But what I did was I went to a couple of friends and asked it like, hey, do you think you could draw this? And like the way I was gonna pay them is once the comic is completed and like we publish it, the first $800 we make they get to keep. Like I don't get no share until after the 800, right? And that's how they get paid.
Oh,
yeah. But a lot of it's like a lot of it's like if like there's a guarantee you're gonna make 800 off the bat, right? So you have to really kind of gauge it. But I feel like the artist I'm working on this with is Mimi Ori. Like she's gonna be the one drawing it, right? And I think her art style is gonna work very well with the story. You'll see it, but the comic is gonna be called Extra Souls, and yeah, that's kind of like how I'm like paying like the artist that I'm working with. I want to do like a bunch of other comics with a bunch of other artists because I just like the idea of having my name on a bunch of comics and not even comics I necessarily drew, you know.
yeah.
Your name's on volume 2 of Unhinged, so.
Oh, base.
Yeah.
Good. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming in and helping with that design. It's a really nice one.
Thank you. Yeah, of course. There was another project I forgot to mention, but I mention it from time to time. Me and a buddy of mine are working on like a monster manual for a video game that doesn't exist.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a private server where we just throw in like concept arts for like little wacky guys. Like, okay, here's like a headless man, but he has like a top hat. He'll be called like the headless showman. And
That's cool.
yeah, and there's like other he came up with like, oh my god, I'm blanking out on some of the names he came up with. We came up with like really fucking. Oh, recently he came up with like a ghost called Babushka, and it's and it's like a ghost within a ghost within a ghost. So like the joke is like they're the Russian doll things, but as ghosts.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we just been throwing like just monster ideas in this one private server, and the goal is like, at a point we're gonna be like, all right, that's enough monsters, and then we're just gonna collect them all in a book, and have it be under like Creative Commons. So if people want to use like these monsters for like DMD campaigns, they're allowed to.
That'd be cool.
Oh, that's a smart idea.
Yeah, we might kickstart it too, because I would love to have it like a physical of it, like a little monster manual of it. It'd be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you guys want to say about comics before I go to the final question of the podcast?
They'll break your heart.
Comics are really cool.
Yeah.
Comics are really cool.
They're fun.
Please read our comics, please.
And if you haven't started on your comic, please make your comic.
Just make your comic now. Look, I'm gonna bet you right now, if you think you have some sort of genius idea and it's like, oh, I gotta make this idea later when I'm better, just do it now, because your idea is probably not that good. I'm just gonna tell you that it's probably not that good. You're gonna grow, you're gonna get older, and you're gonna look back on that idea and be like, oh, it wasn't that good actually, because that happens so often. So any good idea you have in the moment, just do it now. Because like in a couple of years, you're gonna probably think it's not that clever,
Or you're going to think it's even better than you thought it was before, and then you remake it and it's even better.
True, but you should still just make it now.
And drawing a comic is a good way to improve too if you're drawing the same characters over and over and over again.
True.
Yep.
True.
That is true.
You gotta do that. All right, guys. The final question. This is the question we end all podcasts on main character syndrome. All right.
Okay.
Tell me this: who do you think deserves to get canceled this week? You have to pick one person who not necessarily a person. It could be a type of person who like deserves to get canceled this week. And I'll go first so you guys get an idea. But I think the kind of person that needs to get canceled this week are men who don't get sarcasm when it comes from a woman.
Fair.
Fair
Enough.
Yeah.
Like there's this one post I remember where like I find so many posts, and a lot of them are just like screenshots of TikTok where it's like women like they say a joke, and like the joke is that they come off as like kind of irrationally rude to a scenario, and obviously they're being sarcastic, right? Like they're making a joke of how it's weird that I acted this way, right? Like that's the joke. But so many men would like quote tweet this being like, wow, yeah, this is why you don't have a man, yeah, this is why you're not loyal, yeah, this is everything bad you deserve coming to you.
Oh
like
my God. Yeah, I know exactly
take it
what
like
you're talking about.
Yeah, they take it 100% serious, and I think that's where the whole like women aren't funny thing stems from, is the fact that just men don't understand that women could be sarcastic. Except for us guys, we're the cool guys, we're the cool men. Just gonna say that.
Yeah, no.
Or that they understand that they can be sarcastic and they don't like it.
It's almost like women are actually people. It's fucking crazy.
Weird.
Yeah.
Weird shit.
I think it's also like a thing where they expect women to be more mature. So when the women say like incredibly ridiculous things, they don't think of it as, oh, they're just being ridiculous as a joke. Like, no, they're being 100% serious, because women can never be like this ridiculous.
Because they don't talk about their vaginas enough, to be honest.
My vagina. Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah. That's why Amy Schumer has to talk about her vagina, or people won't know she's being sarcastic. That's the code word.
Yeah.
If more women talk to their boyfriends about going to the gynecologist, the world would be a lot better.
True, 100%. I'm gonna say the unofficial catchphrase of this podcast. Every episode so far, we have said this: we love women on this podcast.
Number one fan.
We love women. We respect women on this podcast on Main Character Syndrome. Man, when I wrote this like who I wanted to get canceled. I did it like a couple weeks back, and I should have linked that one tweet that I was thinking of because it was making the rounds. But whatever. You probably see this tweet all the fucking time, like men just like being irrationally mad at a woman telling a joke.
Literally every day.
Yeah.
Every day. That's why I love Twitter.
I love it.
Okay. Anyone have anyone they want to cancel?
I do.
Right.
So this is a point of contention for me and me specifically, and anyone else who's a part of the community that I'm in. I would like to formally cancel everybody who calls themselves goth but don't even listen to goth music. I'm gonna be that guy this week, so that's my thing.
Nick, what's goth music?
Stuff like the Sisters of Mercy or Bauhaus or The Cure, not the Smiths, because the Smiths fucking suck and Morrissey's an asshole.
True.
Damn. Didn't The Cure did that? What's that one song? The Friday I'm in Love song.
Yeah,
That's the
so they had a
song.
bit of a period where they kind of just did pop music, but their first 3 albums, or the first couple albums, like 17 Seconds and like Pornography and shit like that, those are some pretty good goth albums.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I guess because I was so surprised when I heard that Cure was considered goth because I only knew them from their pop songs.
That's like 90s
Yeah,
goth.
the pop songs are like their biggest ones.
And was there any particular person that you had this realization about, like, oh man, fuck this person?
Pan Pizza, I'm calling you out on the.
Oh,
No, I'm just
shit.
fucking around. I'm just fucking.
Pan's
yeah,
a
Pan
fake goth.
Pan Pizza has been going goth this week, I
I
noticed.
bet he
He's
doesn't
a
even
cool
like
guy, but-
Raven from Teen Titans. That fucking liar.
He's a cool guy. I have nothing against him, but like he constantly talks about like, oh, I'm so into goth shit and stuff, and I'm like, bro, you don't even know that goth started out as like a music subculture, man. I'm about to go fucking gatekeeper on your ass.
Because goth, yeah, because it's a fetishization, you know. It's like the goth girl fetishization that's been going on, you know.
Yeah, and then like the part that really bothers me about it too is that like a lot of people tend to conflate goth and emo together just because the aesthetics are similar. But the only the only thing is that it's just 2 alternative subcultures. But like if you listen to goth music compared to emo music, it's like 2 completely different fucking worlds.
Yeah, it's like conflating goth with bravers.
Yeah, a lot of people do that too, and that's kind of like what Pan's current fashion is. I saw some of his outfits on Twitter and stuff, and he's like wearing like mall goth clothes and
Yeah,
stuff,
like
and that's like
trip pants and
yeah. But if you look back at like the actual goth scene from like the 80s and shit, everyone's wearing like leather jackets and shit like
yeah, it was a lot
that,
more
and, like,
effeminate back then.
But that's
Matt,
who I'm canceling.
Wait, hold up, Matt. Do you know who Pan Pizza is?
No.
Okay, well, we've just been saying this guy's name, and Matt's like,
Not
what are they
anymore.
talking
That
about?
bitch is gone. Canceled.
It gave me enough of a description that I could get the gist of what he's talking about.
He's probably like the most well-known like cartoon YouTuber, reviewer / whatever. And he usually goes by Rebel Taxi. If that sounds any more familiar.
No, not necessarily.
Whatever. But yeah, we're all pseudoly connected to him
Taxi.
in a way. Like
I was on the
me and
podcast
Nick,
once.
Yeah, Nick was on a podcast. I was on a podcast. Everyone fucking hated me. When
I thought it
went
was
on.
funny.
Thank you. I thought it was funny too. I still think it was funny. Cheesymanfredo did nothing wrong.
I stand with cheese.
And, thank you. Thanks, Dylan. And Dylan's I think one of your pins showed up in a Rebel Taxi video.
Yeah, I gave him some pens and stickers along with my Dragon Ball DVDs that he never reviewed.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Well,
Oh well.
yeah, that's the thing. That look, I'm gonna tell you this right now. To anyone who has physical comics and they want to like send it off to people, I recommend sending it off to people who talk about comics. Because if you send it off to people who like comics but don't talk about it on their channel, they're not gonna bring it up ever.
You might have to give me a list of some people because
That makes
I'd
sense.
definitely like to do that.
They like stickers
I'm
though.
gonna tell you, there's one guy, there's one group, there's 2 guys I have in mind. Well, there's one YouTube channel that's run by 2 guys that I have in mind, but they kind of don't do like the mailbag episodes anymore. So
Yeah.
but like I don't know. I wish there was a better like circle of well-known YouTubers that talk about like more independent comics or like just smaller comics.
Well, the thing is
I know
about
there's some
independent
niche
comics
ones,
is a
but-
lot of them are adult in nature, and that don't play too nice with the advertisers.
Are you saying Bongo Luna is for adults? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying
Because it is.
Okay, is there any comic here that we make is not for adults?
Mine's probably like young adults stuff because I started writing it in high school, so it's kind of got like that vibe to it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I could write a kids comic at this point in my life.
No.
You have like raw materials at your disposal, Matt. You have a child. You can just funnel ideas out of him.
This is true.
You could
Just
be
like
the
Bill
next
Watterson.
Axe Cop or whatever.
Or
Yeah.
or you could be ex-cop but doesn't become like a Trump supporter.
Yeah.
There you go.
Whoops.
I mean,
You could be. I was gonna say you could be the next Bill Watterson because he was just getting inspired by his kid to do the Calvin and Hobbes.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
supposedly, like, people are making bank on Amazon publishing like children's books. So,
That scheme. It's like a fucking scam or some shit they're doing.
yep.
Oh fuck, Matt. I wanted to. You're a parent. I want to make a quick little segment on a topic that's been like clouding my mind recently. Matt, you're a parent. Tell me if you've heard of a show called Bluey.
Yep.
Okay. Do you watch the show with your kids?
I've watched a few of it with Luke and my wife. My wife.
My laugh. But yeah, Bluey has been slowly growing this fandom of adults.
Oh God, that's
I
not good.
noticed. But it's kind of like it. But the thing is that it's only two kinds of adults that are getting into this fandom.
Is it as
It's,
weird as the dudes who get into like fucking Paw Patrol and shit?
MLP. Oh
Is this going into like a very
no,
weird
it's not
place?
going to a dark direction, but it's just
Okay.
something I've noticed. I admit it. I'm becoming a Bluey head. I'm becoming a Bluey fan.
It's a
Blue
cute
stand?
show. I mean, I'm not
Yeah,
gonna lie.
Yeah, it's a cute show, but like the two types of people that are in this fandom are like parents, because it's a pretty decent show to watch with your kids.
hmm
Like if you're an adult, you can laugh at this show because a lot of the humor, like, feels very I want to say adult, but just kind of universal,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right?
I could
Like
give you
it-
some recommendations right now that are along those lines.
Oh yeah, sure. DM it to me. Because it's been my partner who's been getting me into Bluey. We don't have kids, but
Yeah.
but that makes me go into the second group of people that this show appeals to. This show appeals to people who had shitty parents. If you
Yeah.
had shitty parents or parents that traumatize you, and you want to watch a show that like gives you this like you could kind of like project yourself as a kid who was raised by these parents, this show is so fucking perfect for that.
I might have to check it out.
Because it's like the show is unironically like it feels like it's a show where the dad is like secretly teaching the kids how to do improv. If
little
that
bit.
makes any sense, like Matt, you've seen a couple episodes, because like it's the sort of like the way that the parents and the kids play in the show. It's kind of like the adults, each, whether it's the kid or the parents, give the other characters a scenario, some sort of like kind of improv scenario, and the other characters kind of like build off of that. It's a very yes and show, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So like for example, there was an episode where Bluey and her sister find like $1 in their house. And they wake up their dad to like, oh, we want to go buy ice cream. And the dad's like, oh, that's my $1. I'm going to keep it. And the kid's like, hey, we wanted to get ice cream. We found $1. It's ours. And the dad's like, okay, you know what? If I will go get ice cream, but you guys have to physically move me to the car so I could go drive us. Yep. And the dad like ragdolls on the ground. So they have to like push the dad into the car to go get ice cream. And there's a whole bit where they literally fling him down the stairs. They do a bunch of shit that feels very like, oh my god, they could get someone killed if they're not careful.
Yeah. It's a cute little show. It has some funny little bits here and there like that. It's endearing.
Yes, it's kind of like I don't want to say this now because I would hate to eat my words, but it's kind of like the wholesome version of being a brony, I guess.
I
can
guess.
see that.
I don't know what's wholesome
There's like
about
this.
it.
There's this evilness that it comes to being a brony, but with being a Bluey fan as of right now, I don't want to like fucking accidentally like poorly aged Cheesymanfredo comments.
Oh, I mean, you've already doomed yourself.
I have doomed myself.
Give it like 5 more years.
This show is just like it's. I don't know, it's entertaining, and like my partner really.
No,
likes
I get it.
Because I mean, they had very awful parents, and like if you ever wanted to like watch something that gives you this feeling like, oh man, I wish my dad loved me.
Yeah.
This show gives you that energy.
Wow.
Might have to check it out.
Anyway, this has been the Bluey episode. That aside, let's go back to canceling people.
You really blew it.
Enough about the toddler show, and by enough I mean I'm the only person talking about it. Let's see whose turn is it next to cancel. Who wants to cancel someone right now? Dylan, Matt. Pick a person.
I've been thinking. I've been trying to think about who. Okay,
Dylan.
Michael J. Fox.
Yeah, I agree.
Something tells me he deserves it. I don't know.
Well, first of all, he's Christian, so that's a red flag.
Well, I mean, is he a cool
he's a
Christian?
He's a fake redneck. Him and all his buddies are like fake rednecks.
Michael J. Fox?
They're like they LARP as rednecks to like appeal to like the kind of like lower income, like kind of like conservative base, you know.
Oh.
It's just called being an American.
You never seen that? There's like a David Cross like audio tape where he talks shit about Larry the Cable Guy.
I haven't heard that.
Jesus Christ.
And he kind of like spills the beans, like, oh, you know that Larry the Cable Guy went to a private school, and he's like faking that accent. And it's all this like dirt that he has on Larry the Cable Guy. It's really funny.
There's old footage of Larry, of him, like his act before his redneck stuff.
Yeah,
It's really
Can't
bad,
trust famous
by the way.
rednecks. Who can you trust?
Yeah, all right.
yeah. 9/11 really poisoned a lot of people's minds. I'll tell you that
Yeah,
much
we
right
never
now.
forgave Larry for that.
He's kind of not around no more. You don't see him.
Yeah, I wonder what he's doing. Probably filming Tooth Fairy 4 or some shit.
Oh
Right.
hell yeah! Yes, coming straight to Redbox 234.
Cars 5.
Yeah, riding
Okay,
high
so-
on that car's money.
So wait, it was who did you say again, Dylan? I forgot the guy's name.
Michael J.
Michael
Fox.
J. Fox.
Michael J. Fox. I was about to say Jamie Foxx, and I was like, that's not right.
Oh, well,
Yeah, Michael J. Fox. All right, cool. Matt, who do you want to cancel?
Okay, it's not like a specific person. It's more of
It's fine. I didn't cancel a specific person.
all right. So parents that send their sons giant essays about Dr. Fauci conspiracies in the middle of the day when you're trying to work, and you can't pay attention to it, and he just keeps sending them.
Ugh.
That's what I'm
What
going
the
to cancel.
fuck? Please explain more.
I'm talking about myself. And my parents.
I know you're talking about yourself, but what is it? Are you going to a PTA meeting or something? What is this?
No, my dad's like a huge right-wing conspiracy guy, so he just sent me a bunch of random bullshit today while I was on the phone about Dr. Fauci, or not while I was at work, and I was just like, I'm just sitting there trying to pay attention to what I'm doing, and I just get these long-ass essays from him that I'm never gonna read. All conspiracy crap.
Oh God, about the satanic cabal. Then what's it called? What's the shit that they suck out of children? Adrenochrome.
Adrenochrome, yeah.
Yeah.
This was specifically about how.
yeah, that's what they call it.
It was something about Fauci saying like how I'm not gonna get into it, but just something about him saying that like the best immunity is getting sick and blah 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 from the flu,
Oh my
not
God.
vaccines. So I'm like, God, I don't want to deal with this.
Yeah,
right now.
I've heard that before. It's fucking great. I love it. Fucking just love all this misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get a little political right now. Be careful, guys.
Uh-oh, here we go.
But I envy conservatives. It's so easy. You just gotta be dumb. You just say stupid shit and they won't like correct you. You can't say stupid shit as a lefty. They'll cancel you.
No.
Yeah, you gotta be careful as a lefty.
Yeah, if you say I'm gonna create a new brand of lefty, a new lefty group where it's just like We're left, but we just say dumb shit all the time.
Dirtbag left.
Yeah,
Part
dirtbag
two.
left, but funnier.
What you mean? You liberals always say stupid shit.
So you want to cancel your dad, Matt? Is what you're saying?
Or people like him.
You want to go on Twitter and make a call out post on your dad?
Dad? No,
I need
he already,
everyone to
they already
unfollow
know.
my dad right now.
They already know I'm like a left leaning person. It was funny actually. This is just an aside. There was they like I said, they sent me a random text about things in that regard. And one day I got a text from my mom, was like, "Is this your art?" And it was, I don't know if you guys have seen that picture of Hassan where he's like, he's holding the bat and it says like "bash the fash" and stuff. I was like, yeah,
That's pretty good.
and he's like, "Are you a communist?" I'm like, "What?"
What? No. First of all, Hassan isn't a communist.
Yeah, I know. And, like,
Communist,
so
I
they had
sell
this whole, like,
propane.
so they had this whole like thing with me that night about like how they were worried about me because I was doing these things, and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's epic. You should you should send your parents like pictures of G Prime.
Mm-mm.
Oh, wait, he's that one guy who like he's like that right wing artist, and he does like the Strawman comics, where his art style is like kind of realistic. You know
I
what
have
I'm
to
talking
see
about?
it. I think I might know what you're talking about. I have the brain of a goldfish, so I tend to forget shit
Well,
really easy.
you gotta be able to remember this guy because he's like your rival.
Oh yeah.
He's anti you, like you're a lefty, and this guy's like a far righter. He did art for a Lauren Southern book.
Oh Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so yeah, this is one of his comics.
Oh,
This is,
this
like-
guy.
Oh, this guy. Yeah, this
Yeah,
dude.
yeah. Yeah, send this to your parents. Like, no, actually, I make these.
Oh my god.
Oh, perfect.
Why does this dude look like Mario?
I don't know. He did a comic where it's like, it was like after they lost the Trump presidency, and he's trying to frame like conservatives being as totally calm about it, and it's actually the liberals freaking out that Trump won. And it's like, this is the most anti-reality thing ever. Like, this is like,
That's what it is, dude.
he got this from like another reality. But okay, let's get this straight. So I'm canceling men because I hate all men. Nick is canceling Pan Pizza.
Just
Dylan.
goths in general.
Yeah, just goths in general. Then Dylan over here is canceling Larry the Cable Guy.
Yes.
And Matt, you're canceling your dad.
Yep.
All right, cool. Glad we got that straight. All right, and with that, we're at the end of the episode. Guys, this is the part where you shill your stuff. So whoever wants to start first, just say whatever you want people to find you at or look up for you. Go ahead, fight for it.
I'll go last.
All right. Okay.
We're all too nice. We're like,
All right. You know what? You go first, Matt. You go first.
I don't really. I mean, I'm not as like fancy schmancy as you guys. You can mostly just find me on Twitter. At what is my oh my god, what is my Twitter handle?
Matt's
Yeah.
stupid face, right?
No, sorry, Matt's stupid art. That's what it is.
Yep.
Stupid face
Matt's-
is my Steam my Discord name. That's right. But yeah, Matt Stupid Face Twitter. I'm also same thing on Twitch, and that's about the main places you'll find me.
Yeah. Wait, you stream? What times do you stream at?
Usually Monday, Wednesday, Friday, around like 9:30 or 10.
Yes, perfect. And if it entices people, Matt has like a little frog Sona.
Yeah.
So and
Yep.
if you like frogs, and Matt's the guy.
Check out his little
Yeah, I'm
name.
gonna
Sounds
try
very
dipping
cute.
into I'm gonna try dipping into VTubing for fun. I got some
Nice.
shit.
Oh
So-
hell yeah!
I've always been really big in animation, so I was like, hell yeah, I wanna see how this works.
You should
so-
you should start rapping. All the VTubers are rapping
God.
now.
No, that would be awful. That would be
And-
the worst thing ever.
No, you'll fit right in. They're all terrible at it. None of them are good.
Okay. All right. Well, never mind then. I feel better.
All right. Okay, Nick. You go, Nick.
Okay. You can find me on Twitter at Nick's Art Corner. Please follow me. I was over 900 followers, and then I didn't post art for a week, and then I dropped back down to the 800 range, and I'm very sad. So please give me a follow. And then you can read my comic on Webtoons. It's Unhinged, and you can also read it on the official website, which is just unhingedcomic.com.
Sweet.
All right, Dylan, your turn.
Please read The Legend of Lucy. That is thelegendoflucy.com. And if you don't like it, you can just go to my email right over there and tell me about exactly what you don't like about it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, please email Dylan.
Yeah, please tell me about how much you don't like my comic.
I want someone to email Dylan an essay defending Larry the Cable Guy. and then Dylan will send it to me and I'll read it.
That's sadly probably more likely to happen.
Damn. Okay, you all know me. You love me, you hate me. I do Villainverse. You go read Villainverse. I have like a link for that on this fucking YouTube channel. My Twitter is at Cheesymanfredo, the infamous Cheesymanfredo. And
absolute criminal.
Criminal, illegal, doesn't even fucking belong anywhere.
That bastard.
If you read Villainverse and you thought, man, I wish Villainverse was more gay, I wish I had gay stuff going on, then read My Alien Girlfriend Doesn't Know I'm an Alien. That's Villainverse but gay. And that's on Webtoon. And so go check that out. It's dropped. There should be 2 by the time this episode comes out. There should be two comics of it. It's great.
Can we get a confirmation on whether or not it's in the same universe as Villainverse?
No, it's not.
Is it in the same universe as Bongo and Luna?
No.
Fuck.
No.
How are you supposed to have a cinematic universe?
Yeah, the Cheesymanfredo cinematic universe.
The Villainverse is a cinematic universe condensed in one story.
There you go.
I was like, why make multiple different characters with different comics? Just put them all in one comic. Boom,
Right.
did it. Genius work. Exactly.
Fair enough.
So anyway, that's the end of this episode, guys. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.